Hey folks, I haven't done a sewing machine video for a while. Excuse me if I'm scrunched down a bit here to get my head in the frame. So I thought we'd take a look at something a little bit interesting. I hope they're all interesting. This is my one and only Husqvarna. It's a Husqvarna Nordic. And got this at a thrift store. Came with the original instruction manual, which is always nice to find and pretty rare, especially for a machine this old. It has a 1951 copyright date on it. And looking at the motor, I see the motor is dated 1952. So we can date this machine with some specificity. It's a class 15. Husqvarna referred to it as a class 12 on the front. That's their version of a class 12. But it's a class 15, uses a Singer class 15 bobbin. This is a type of machine that, when it was made, would have been a common type of machine. Singer made them, and of course they were coming en masse from Japan. After World War II, the Japanese started producing these in enormous numbers. It really flooded the market and would eventually, lead to Singer's demise. But this is a bit unusual in that it is a class 15 machine, but it is made in Sweden. And in a big flood of Japanese copies of Singer machines, this was really an original machine. Again, it used the Singer class 15 bobbin, but it was a machine unto itself, extremely high quality. Again, this was made in Sweden, and Husqvarna is actually, it's kind of funny, it's the oldest company in the world that makes sewing machines, although it's not really the oldest sewing machine company in the world. And what I mean is Husqvarna actually dates back to the 1600s as an arms maker. And there's a long history between arms makers and sewing machine makers because they require metal casting, machining, a lot of precision work. So Husqvarna actually dates to the 1600s, but they were making armaments. They got into the sewing machine business in the 1800s, by which time Singer had already been producing machines for a few years. So the Husqvarna company is older, but Singer was actually producing sewing machines before Husqvarna. And Husqvarna started out making a few of their own designs, which were a little problematic in the 1850s. They really hadn't got it all figured out. But they got better at it. They actually bought the rights to an American machine at one point and produced that. But then, in the early 1900s, they came up with their own designs. And this was, and I should say by the 50s and 60s, they were extremely innovative. They were real leaders. This machine is basically the best of what they knew coming out of World War II. And it is a superb machine. It's not a trendsetter. Again, it's a class 15 straight stitch machine. There's nothing amazing or forward thinking about it. The thing is, the design is very Teutonic, very efficient, very clean, extremely high quality. It's pretty much what you would expect from Sweden. It's almost a Swedish stereotype of a machine that's very simple, but extremely rugged, extremely well built. And that's what this machine is. I love the finish on it. This is a crinkle finish, and Singer at one point had a similar finish, and we called that a Godzilla finish. This is, quite frankly, it's a little bit nicer. I suspect the markings on here where it says Nordic, I imagine those are silk screened on. I don't think that would have been decal, because it's hard to put decals on one of these Godzilla styles of finish. But again, a very clean design, very high quality design. Again, nothing particularly unusual about it. Just a really great machine. You'll see these sold in different parts of the world. Some of them will actually say Husqvarna on them. Right? And I think I've seen the same thing with Viking on it, which might have caused a problem in Canada because the Eaton's company used the Viking trademark. So this is called a Nordic. But again, a rather common style of design, just extremely clean, extremely well done. If you look at the faceplate here, a lot of machines still at this time in the 50s would have had very ornate, very chromed kind of Edwardian faceplates on them. This doesn't. Again, it's the kind of thing that we came to expect from Sweden. Very clean, simple design. And even if you look at the back here, where you would open this panel up to get at the gears. Again, on a lot of Singer, or in the Japanese clones in particular, again, this would be a very ornate chrome-plated piece. Here it's not. It's just very simple, very straightforward, very high quality, and again, sort of the Swedish stereotype of what you would expect from a Swedish machine. Simple, rugged, clean, attractive, very well built. Even the tension mechanism, again, it functions like a standard Singer mechanism, but it has a clean appearance to it. It doesn't have all the little doodads and markings on there. Just the basics of what you have to know. So that's, and I will mention that it does have one feature that was not that common at the time. You could raise through this switch here. This would raise and lower the feed dogs. The feed dogs move the material through the machine. Most and modern machines, there's a reason you'd want to lower that. Like if you're doing darning or embroidery or something, you'd want to lower the feed dogs because you want to be able to move the material freehand. What was quite common at that time was you would put an accessory plate. You would bolt a little plate down on here to raise the material up. What Husqvarna did, and what modern machines do, was they had a lever there so you could drop the feed dogs. Again, very common today, and it became common in the 60s. In 1951, when this machine was made, that would have been unusual. So rather than having to bolt on an accessory plate, you would just push this button, and it would mechanically lower the feed dogs. Very nice feature, because it's one less thing you have to lose. And again, if you have an old machine, a lot of these parts got lost. So basically is that accessory plate that you didn't have to worry about losing. So that was actually one of the forward-thinking things that Husqvarna did at the time. But there we have it. That is my 1952 Husqvarna Nordic, which I got for dirt cheap at the thrift store. Beautiful condition, like extremely nice condition. Came with the original handbook, and it even came with and this is quite nice too, the original Husqvarna accessories. So that's it. That is the Husqvarna Nordic.